We are live. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, Blake Ruffino. This is Are You Serious Sports? We hope that you guys are making it a good one. We know that we are as well. Huge show in store for you tonight. We greatly appreciate you joining us. Got a lot to get into as LSU does fall to Kansas State last night with only a limited amount of scholarship guys available. We will touch in on all of that. What I thought about the game and some really good bright spots. You know, the funny thing that I kept thinking about to myself today is how much negativity from everyone on social media and everyone on, Twitter, Facebook, what have you about the game last night. It was nothing but negative. So tonight we are going to flip the script and give you some positives. Yeah, there are some things that I disagree with. That's fine. But let's start looking at some positive things that we can talk on. Let's stop fear-mongering everybody. As the Brian Kelly era is officially upon us, we will talk about hurdles that he has to overcome. We'll talk about how he's going to do that. We got to get a lot into. Down goes the Wildcats, as Will Wade in the LSU basketball team absolutely obliterates. Not really. But in my mind and in my heart, they beat down the Kentucky Wildcats. They beat them down, y'all. We'll get into that as well. Everybody do us a favor by hitting the like and share too. We got a little bit of a snag on one of our social media pages. So if you're on Facebook, please do me a favor. If you are currently watching us on Facebook, hit the like button, share to your social media pages, and please, for the next couple of days, I ask you to share to all of the LSU football groups. I know that multiple of you are in here that are in these groups. Please do me a favor right now by hitting that like button and sharing it to those Facebook groups. We'll be able to do that in a couple of days. But just have some issues sharing into some Facebook groups currently. So it's okay. It's okay. We will be back. Show started a little bit later tonight because of those issues, but we'll be okay. We're going to have to tamper back some things because you just, in today's world, in today's society, man, people just, yeah. We'll talk some LSU football, obviously some LSU basketball. Is it too early to talk about LSU baseball too? Is it too late? Is it too early? I don't think that it is. All right, let's get to a couple comments. We'll pay some bills around this thing, and then we'll get started. Mike Smith says, Blake, the Coach O era is finally done. Thank the Lord. True to a little bit, Mike. That's true, but we still have the effects of Ed Orgeron all up and down this roster that Brian Kelly's going to have to overcome. But we will touch on that. We will touch on that. Robin says, can't forget the lady basketball team tomorrow. Absolutely, Robin. We're going to touch on that tonight, too. I was going to preface that tomorrow when the Lady Tigers took the court. We were gonna talk about that game and even do a live viewing for that game. But you can't forget about them. Kim Mulkey said, give me a year. Bro, Kim Mulkey was told, give me a year, guys. Give me a year to get into the top 15. Kim, don't lie to them people. Don't lie. All right, let's do this. Let's get started. Everyone do us a favor by hitting like and share. We just talked about that on Facebook, but do it again. There is 250 of you currently live on Facebook. Do us a favor by hitting that like button, hitting the share to your social media pages, share to some Facebook groups. If you're on YouTube, we reached another milestone today on YouTube. We will be doing a gift card giveaway. We did those a lot last year. We'll be doing that again this year as we eclipse 2,400 subscribers. If we get to 2,500 subscribers by the end of the month, we will take all of our subscribers and the new subscribers that come on board and put it into a raffle, and we'll draw for maybe a $50, $75 gift card So if you're listening to us right now, hit the subscribe button and notification bell. We greatly appreciate you doing that. If you're listening to us on the audio podcast platform, don't forget to subscribe there and give us a rating. We would greatly appreciate that. All right, so let's get started. None better than our good friends over at GM Varno & Sons at betonline.ag. Guys, with 64 years of experience, nobody is better equipped to servicing your vehicle than GM Varno & Sons. RV repair, big rig overhauls, motorhome chassis, routine maintenance, tire rotations, tire sales. No job is too big or too small over at GM. Give them a call today at 225-664-9992. That's 225-664-9992. Or go see them over at 2500 Fuller Boulevard in Denham Springs, Louisiana. And our good friends over at betonline.ag. Guys, we've been telling you about BetOnline for such a long time now. We got the NFL this weekend. We have the national championship game that will be on Monday. If you're going to take the Crimson Tide, which I know a lot of LSU fans probably don't like it, but if you're a betting man, you might want to bet on the Tide, unfortunately. But we're going to probably there's really no good way to root for either team if you root for a team in the SEC. But if you want to bet on that game, you better do it at betonline.ag. For a 50% welcome bonus, use the Believe 50 AYS podcast tab. That way that they know that your good friend Blake Ruffino over at AYS sent you on by. It's betonline.ag. Betonline.ag. All right, let's get this thing rolling, y'all. Let's get this thing rolling, y'all. We do got some personal news very quickly. We were waiting. We were going to do it before the storm, but some things set us back after Hurricane Ida, and obviously we were greatly affected by Hurricane Ida from a timing standpoint and everything like that. We're trying to put some things together before the hurricane, but we are going to be doing it now as this is, I guess, officially the second show of the new year. But we'll be putting up a lot more YouTube clips breaking down things. We're going to be looking into bringing in more guest segments that we do not do on the live shows that we'll be putting on Facebook, YouTube, etc. Looking to bring some people on to our team, to the AYS team. So if you have a specialty in the podcast digital game, hit us up via DM. We greatly want to talk to you, or I would love to talk to you and let you be a part of this team. All right, let's get to a couple comments, and then we'll get started about the Brian Kelly era. Daniel says, another losing season for Coach O. Imagine that. Well, it's the first losing season for LSU in 20 years, right? The last time that LSU had a losing season was in 1999 with Jerry DiNardo. And right after that, LSU hired who we would know is probably, if not the, but is the greatest football coach of all time in Nick Saban. Now, Scott Woodward, who was also a part of that staff, has gone out and hired Brian Kelly, the winningest coach in Notre Dame football's history. Now, I'm in these Twitter spaces, and I hear from a lot of other fan bases and a lot of other things. But to take some positives away from the game last night and to take some positives and some things that I fully believe that Brian Kelly is going to be able to enact for this LSU football team and this LSU football roster up to next season is you still have a lot of talent that was out there last night. You just didn't have the depth. Mike Jones should have had a pick six. Who, Mike Jones? And to people who will DM me saying that you don't like when I say who, Mike Jones, I really don't care. Mason Smith, B.J. Ojulari, Tank Guillory showed off a lot last night in the athleticism that he had. Needs to get in a little bit better shape, but he was all up and down the field in that first half, but needs somebody that can come in and spell him so that they can swap reps in and out. Brian Kelly is not a loser. And in the one season that he went 4-8, they lost those 8 games, or 7 of those 8 games, by less than 1 score in all of those games. Turned it around, has 5 straight seasons of 10 wins plus. Now, from a lot of people, I want to stress this now even more than we have been, of the Brian Kelly era. Guys, you have not had a more accomplished head coach for LSU football in this establishment from a resume standpoint that you hired maybe ever. Scott Woodward is building a legacy at LSU. I don't think that he took this lightly. I think that he knows, and Brian Kelly himself knows, what he's going to be able to do when he comes in here and puts pieces and puts things together. Look at Ken Mulkey. Now, what if there's a scenario where Jay Johnson starts doing some good things? And then you have Brian Kelly who will start doing some good things. But I know that there's been a lot of riff-raff about the roster and 39, actually even 37 guys playing last night that on scholarships. Some of those guys having to be walk-ons going in and getting scholarships playing. But I'm still encouraged about what I saw last night. I can have the differing opinion than you that I disagreed with LSU playing that game last night for a multitude of different reasons. But the one thing that you can't take away is those 37-plus men, the 37 men on scholarship, went out there last night and played their heart out. You want to talk about what Brian Kelly builds off of? What he builds off of is the basis and the core of those young men that were there last night that have heart like Gerontre Kirkland, who are going to be a part of this LSU team. When all hell was breaking loose and five-star recruits like Quincy Wiggins and Walker Howard and Will Campbell and Emory Jones were all staying in state to come to LSU because they loved them or loved it. That is where this recruiting class is going to be your core nucleus. Now, you have 14 scholarship guys right now. Brian Kelly is going to be able to go out and get 18 more guys either from high school or in the transfer portal. Now, the +7 rule, we can get into it. Once you hit that 25 mark, you can only use the +7 for transfer portal guys. But Brian Kelly said last night that and basically in his interview with the guys at ESPN, I don't have a choice. I have to go to the portal. But you do have guys that can play. LSU, I'm going to make this determination right now at 7:40 on January the 5th. LSU's going to go out there next season and beat a team they have no business beating. No business. Does LSU steal a game from, I say steal a game, we really don't know what's going to happen with that game. But does LSU start off the season in beating Florida State, a team that Brian Kelly started off the season beating a year ago? I know that I'm going to take heat for this, and I understand it. But a coach has not come in here and put a staff together like Brian Kelly has in a very long time. I understand that you have your issues with Mike Denbrock. I understand you might have your issues with Matt House. I understand you might have your issues with Joe Sloan, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But every single person on this staff has a very damn good resume. Brad, how do you walk away from listening to head coach Brad Davis interim head coach last night, Brad Davis, and not say that you want that guy to be a coach on your staff? Now, Coach Brad Davis, let me tell you this, my friend, my dear, dear friend. Last night you said that you were sorry that you let us down. But, Coach, it's the complete opposite. You didn't let us down. You made us proud. And you're right about one thing, my friend. LSU does have a bright future. And all of the crap and the crud that is surrounding us currently is no longer. You know, a lot of people around the country are looking at you and saying this, look at LSU. You have a team in Kansas State who, first off, the classless acts of their players last night was abysmal. Abysmal. Classless. But let me tell you something. And go look in the NFL, go look in college football, go look everywhere. When I go out here and I watch TV on my new outdoor TV, I sit in here with my living room buddies when we watch a game, and I see a wide receiver that has no business or has no ties to LSU, and he scores a touchdown and he's hitting the gritty. What that should tell you is that, bro, you're LSU. Everybody wants to be a part of what you do. Second in national titles over the last 20 years behind the University of Alabama. And you're sitting here asking me if LSU has brighter days ahead. Guys, it's not going to get any worse. I promise you that. Last night, it doesn't get worse from a number standpoint than last night. And quite honestly, there was no reason whatsoever that Jontre Kirkland goes 7 of 11 and throws 3 touchdowns, and 2 of those are intercepted. Somebody was going to catch it. Your defensive line is really talented. Your wide receiver core is really talented. Got to go get linebackers. Got to go get DBs. Got to find a quarterback that can stay healthy, and that maybe there's one out there that you can get that has some experience. Not getting into Miles Brennan talk with you tonight. The future's bright, man. And for every media member out there trashing what's going on and not able to see the glimpses of greatness that I saw last night. Guys, the simple fact, go watch the Mike Jones play again. I get that he missed it. Guys, it was an NFL type of read. If he catches that ball and he runs and he gets a pick 6, does Brian Kelly, I'm not sitting here trying to pump sunshine up your rear end. What I am saying is it's not as dire as some people believe. I don't know if LSU's going 9-3 next year. Hell, I think it's going to be very impressive if Brian Kelly goes 8-4 next year. But we're going to see better days. All right. Let's get to a couple comments. Let's go all the way down and get some. Dane Bergeron sends us $5 via Superstat. He said, schedule Kansas State for 2023 schedule. And put 100 on them. I don't disagree with you, Dane. I don't disagree with you. Guys, it was classless what they did last night. They're hitting the gritty. Tell me that LSU 2019 lives in the minds of everyone around the country that watches sports without telling me. Without telling me, guys, is that not proof alone that LSU in 2019 was the best team of all time? To me, it was. Darren says, I sure hope Scott Woodward puts Kansas State on the schedule soon. I hope so too, but he's not going to. Amanda says, Austin's mom told me that they had 3 Kansas State coaches, excuse me, with their hands on LSU players last night. She said she was shook. Yeah. Barrett Granger, a coach at Granger, says LSU will be back on top, but K-State will always be K-State. I agree with that. Rick says, yes, Coach Davis did make us proud. Thank you, Coach Brad Davis. Absolutely. Look, he did not. Brad Davis did not let me down. Ed Orgeron let me down. Austin Thomas let me down. Stories I'm hearing about Austin Thomas today are nuts, by the way. Ed Orgeron let me down. Quite honestly, truthfully, in my heart, I'm pissed off. I'm mad. I said this last night, and I'll say it again. You want to know why the media was putting stuff out there on Ed Orgeron, things going on at gas station, girls at practices? Guys, look at your roster. Look at the culture problems, bro. Not beating that horse. That's not Brian Kelly. Anyway. Man, it says the amount of unsportsmanlike conduct penalties last night from K-State was ridiculous. I agree. She says, I wish they would have let us play with the full squad. True. Amanda, do me a favor. Share the AY. Can you share this stream to your group? we have some issues right now that we currently can't talk about. I'll have to let you know later. Robin says, Pig Cage. I loved his heart last night, man. And look, just because, look, two things can be true at the same time. Just because I believe, and it's my belief, that LSU should not have played that game last night because of the numbers, that doesn't mean that I don't have or take pride or have pride. And I'm so proud about what Drontre Kirkland and Pig Cage did last night. Doesn't mean that. But for the people that don't praise these players for last night, you're a buffoon. Rick says, bring the Louisiana players who left back home via portal. Let's hope they can do that. You're going to have to go in the portal, man. Look, let's just say hypothetically you get they're at 14 right now. So let's just say they get, and look, I'm going to have to crunch the numbers on this, but you're going to have to go get double-digit kids out of the portal. And not just double-digit kids out of the portal to fill a roster. I'm talking about guys that can play now. Here's the reason why. Of the 3 guys on the defensive line, or 4 guys on the defensive line that we know will start last year, you had your starting defensive line and offensive, or not offensive line for next year, but both units were all there. That should tell you something about linemen, by the way, especially offensive linemen. B.J. Ojolari, Jacobian Guillory, Jaquelin Roy, Mason Smith all played last night. The problem is guys, you're going to have to go get depth, and you're going to have to go get it now. You can't, as much as I think that Quincy Wiggins is an absolute beast and can show flashes of being an NFL prospect day one, that does not mean whatsoever that he's ready to take on the interior of guys in Alabama, Georgia, Florida, etc. That's not how this works. Not a kid that just started playing football 2 seasons ago. You're gonna have to go get beef, and I'm not talking about fat beef. I'm talking about big guys that are athletic that can play. Those guys aren't historically in the portal, but God, you're gonna have to find a way to go get them. You're going to have to find a way to go get them, or switch some things around and put some beef on some guys that can play in the interior. Because unless you do that, you're in trouble on the defensive line. You're in trouble. I see a lot of people sending the stars via Facebook. Terry Higginbottom, thank you for sending the stars. Chris Haley sends us 530 stars via Facebook. Thank y'all so much for doing that. That means a lot when you guys send us super chats and Facebook stars. Richie Roche. What's up, Richie? One of our great sponsors here at AYS. Give him a call at 225-937-7220, 225-937-7220. Just had Richie Roche over at the Ruffino household not too long ago, and he was taking around, and he's going to be doing our landscaping. He's going to be doing some things around the Ruffino household, and I got to tell you, I've had a lot of people that we have talked about, or not talked about, but brought out here, but there's nobody more professional than Richie Roche and his team. The digital stuff that they can do, they can show you what your home looks like before you ever do anything. It's absolutely fantastic. Again, it's 225-937-7220. But Richie says, those 37 are the ones I want, and Brad Davis is a hell of a coach. Hell yeah, he's a hell of a coach. Hell yes, he's a hell of a coach. Absolutely, he's a hell of a coach. No question. Paul Batt says Deculus will make at least a practice roster. I think it's going to be more than that, Paul. Honestly, I mean, the kid didn't give up a sack. I think that he's gonna. I think that kid finds a way, to make a roster. I think he finds a way to make a 53. Chet Fontenot sends us $49.99 via super chat on YouTube. Wow. Chet. Dude, thank you, bro. Bro, seriously, thank you. That's absolutely amazing. I appreciate it. Chet, if you have a question, he sends us a super sticker. Chet, if you have a question, fire it inside the AYS chat, and I will get to it. But thank you, my friend. $49.99. Thank you, sir. Blaine Smith says Aranda recruited Webb, White, Sampa. He knows talent. Haven't had impact yet. Yeah. Yep. Let's see. Shamichael Thompson says, tell us about the Austin Thomas stories. Guys, there's no reason why. Look, I don't like calling for people's jobs. Like I really don't. Unless it's like grossly that something needs to be changed. But he was your general manager. He was your roster manager, and look what happened. With all due respect to Austin, and with all due respect to some of the things he did to some people in media, bro, it's a joke. You don't need that man. You're paying a man for reasons unknown. You're here to fix the roster, and you didn't do it. Not even close. Brandon Reese says, I'm interested to see Smith and Wiggins on that D-line together. Me too. Bunny says, do you think Deculus gets on the NFL roster? I personally do. Let me say this too, Bundy. Let me say this too. Because there's going to be a lot of media members that say that Austin Deculus doesn't have a shot or it's not going to get on practice roster or crazy stuff like that. The man didn't give up a sack all season long. Stop it. In 2022, if you're going to make a blanket statement, you're number one going to be called out for that statement, and you better be able to back it up. Let's change that narrative. If you're going to make a blanket statement, like people yesterday or 2 days, or it was yesterday, saying that Kansas State couldn't stop LSU's offense. Guys, we played a wide receiver at quarterback, and he threw 3 touchdowns. Get out of here with that. Get out of here with that. Heavens to Betsy, as my grandmother Jewel would say. There's a lot of other things she'd say, too, about people like that. William Hodges on Facebook says, hashtag ask Blake, all the new coaches out recruiting right now except maybe House. Correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't there a dead period? It's a dead period until the national title games played. I could be wrong there. Look, Mike Scarborough's coming up. He's doing his show, and him and Buddy are coming up at 8:00. We're going to go a little bit longer than 8:00, though. So ask Mike Scarborough from TigerBait.com. It's LSU Tigers or LSU Tigers on TigerBait. You can ask him that question. I'm sure he'll know. Craig Dugas says, basketball school. Ben done said it with nail polish emoji. Craig Dugas, when you spend $100 million on a football coach, you ain't a basketball school. When football keeps the lights on, you ain't a basketball school. LSU has more national titles under Ed Orgeron than LSU basketball does ever. You're not a basketball school. Win me a couple national titles, and then we'll have that conversation. You ain't a basketball school, dog. Come on. I love you, Craig. Boom. Rick says, Blake, you can buy a cheeseburger tonight. Yeah, I can, man. Chet absolutely sending the fat stacks. Fat stacks of mad cash to AYS. 1,000% fat stacks. All right, let's get to a couple comments. I'm surprised that more people haven't wanted to talk about basketball. I'll say this. You got to give it to Will Wade, man. I mean, as frustrating as times as it is to watch LSU basketball, man, they're finding a way to win. So is Kim Mulkey. They're scrappy. Both teams are just scrappy as hell. Scrappy as all hell. And you got to give Will a lot of credit, man. You got to give Will a lot of credit. And I get that the point guard for Kentucky went out last night, but LSU also had an injury with Brandon Murray, who you saw last night had a big impact in that game. He was out against Auburn. Injuries are part of the game. Get over it. Grow something. I'm sorry. You're never going to get me with the injury bug. You know, all of last year, LSU was hit with the injury bug, and you didn't see me making excuses for injuries. I'm not going to make excuses for injuries. I'm not going to do it. Other people do it. Other fans do it. Things like that. But I am not going to make excuses for injuries. Just not how I roll. Big Suge Bar, I don't know how you say it. He says, did Kelly announce the Kane hire yet? Yep, sure did. Darren Jackson Jr. says, we already removed Coach O bum rear end, so we should be good going forward. Well, you still got a lot of his players. Dilly says, hey, Blake, you got $50 I can hold? Well, that's not how this YouTube thing works, man. Big Daddy's got to pay taxes, and you know. But look, I did say that I was going to do a $75 what do you call that? YouTube subscriber giveaway. So I'll just say this. By the end of the month, if we get to 2,500 subscribers or more, I will put all 2,500 subscribers in a pool, and we will do a $75 gift card giveaway, $75. How about that? So everybody listening, go subscribe to Are You Serious Sports on YouTube and hit the notification bell, and we will do it. Guys, we did, 7 or 8 last year? I gave more money away than anybody that covers LSU. In my mind, because I'm such a tightwad, I gave fat stacks of mad cash. Now, if you win the gift card giveaway and you want me to use it to NIL money to LSU, just let me know and we'll do it. Pooh Bear says, hashtag Ask Blake, isn't it funny that Drontre threw a better, longer pass than Max? If he came back, he'd be QB1. Come on, man. I know. Chris English says, would love him to come to the Saints or Chiefs. Deculus is awesome. Dude didn't give up a sack, y'all. Suge Knight, the mayor says, like Suge Knight. Yeah. Blake, Pooh Bear says, Blake does pay too. Pooh Bear would know. He won one of them. I think Pooh Bear got a $75 one. Craig Dugas says, I respectfully disagree. Number 1, basketball, men's and women's. Number 2, table tennis. Craig, you're just trolling now. Craig, do you hate football? Craig, let me ask you a very serious question, my friend. Where were you all during 2019? Because I don't remember you seeing you, my brother. Don't remember seeing you. Josh Roy says, hashtag Ask Blake, does LSU basketball have everything they need on the team to fix the shooting this season, or do they need to replace some people? I don't think that they have the shooting, but here's another thing. What if there's a situation where Darius Days, instead of going 2 of 10 last night from 3, I'm about to sneeze. God bless me. But like Darius Days was 0 from 8 from the field last night and then drained 2 threes to get LSU ahead of Kentucky. What if Darius Days goes 4 of 10, 5 of 10? Brandon Murray hit down some clutch threes. They do have some guys that can shoot. They need some more. So yeah, I mean, you're gonna have you somehow, some way, you need some more shooters. In my personal opinion. In my personal opinion. All right, we're gonna pay some bills very quickly around this thing. Everybody, do us a favor by hitting the like and share to some Facebook groups. Got to talk about our good friends over at the Drake Williams Law Firm, drakewilliamslawfirm.com. And my good friend Carol Foss. We're going to be bringing on some new sponsors tomorrow. We'll bring them on. Very excited about the direction of Are You Serious Sports. It's getting, guys, we're getting there, and I'm very, very excited. So none better than our good friends over at the Drake Williams Law Firm, drakewilliamslawfirm.com. Guys, are you suffering from the damage that your house or property took during Hurricane Ida? Nobody is better to get with you than the Drake Williams Law Firm if the insurance company is not helping you in filing and getting your claim in the right amount of money that you need. Get in touch with the Drake Williams Law Firm today for a free consultation if you mention this show and Blake Ruffino. DrakeWilliamsLawFirm.com, 985-386-7600. That's 985-386-7600. Tell them your good friend Blake Ruffino at AYS sent you on by. But one of those great insurance guys out there who's always going to be out there for you and his team is a good friend Carol Foss over at State Farm. You know, you might not know, or you might know our good friend Carol Foss over at State Farm and his great service. He is a good neighbor after all, but did you know that State Farm has surprisingly great rates too? Yep, that's right. Along with great service and being a great neighbor, Carol Foss and his team has surprisingly great rates for everyone in the state of Louisiana. Call him today at 985-395-4300 for the surprisingly great rates today for auto, life, and home insurances. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there, and our good friend Carol. All right. Paul Batt says, Will Wade, American Gangster. I agree. Mark sends us some stars via Super Chat. Thank you, my friend. Jimmy James says, do the mouth breathers in the fan base, as seen on certain message boards, have any basis for the Nuss hate that I saw last night and this morning? Yeah, man, I don't know. I don't know. I think that you have your own form of opinion. You can take your own form of opinion there. You know, I'm really ready to get past all of this, you know, calling some players quitters and all this. I'm ready to get past this. Guys, what the bowl games meant to me and you growing up as a kid, don't mean it like it does now. It really doesn't. I get that the purity of the sport and all that, but guys, the purity was never really the thing. I mean, you got away with amateurism for a long time. And a lot of people blaming name, image, and likeness. It's not name, image, and likeness. It's the transfer portal. Everybody keeps having this debate about name, image, and likeness. If you do not cap anybody in the NFL or anybody else in the country after they turn 18 for their name, image, and likeness, why are you doing it solely for college athletes? It makes no sense whatsoever. Now, the reason that I put the transfer portal as being the biggest issue for college football, I say issue. I like parity in college football. I like that people have the ability to move if they want. But the reason that NIL is getting such the big publicity that it is, in my opinion, is because a kid like Caleb Williams can go out into the transfer portal and it's free agency. The one thing I will say, even though I like movement and player engagement in this sport, you're going to have to regulate the transfer portal. I don't agree with players transferring in the middle of the season. That seems crazy to me, that somebody can just quit and not have ramifications behind it. We trash Antonio Brown, but you're going to have to put guardrails on the portal. The only reason why Caleb goes in the portal is to make money, but the only reason he's able to do that is because he knows next year, no matter where he goes, he can play. It's not going to change until you put guardrails on to the transfer portal. 1,000%, if you want to end the argument today, it's the portal. And I don't like other people worrying about and talking about other people's money. Do you know how weird that is? Sports is the only place that we talk about how much money a man makes. Like, legitimately. You don't really know how much Elon Musk makes a year because it's not report. Adam Schefter is not breaking news stories on new contracts that Elon Musk gets or new inventions that he gets and how much money he makes from Tesla. That doesn't happen. But Derek Stingley Jr. gets $1 million from United Airlines, and it's all over the place. It is so weird. Bailey Jones says, #AskBlake, last night our guys played great despite us being practically handicapped. What do you think? Yeah, they were handicapped. Absolutely. There's no doubt about that. No doubt about that at all. The mayor on YouTube says, shout out to John Trey for stepping up from DB wide receiver to starting QB for LSU in a bowl game. Wow, yeah. He gave it all on the line, man. He gave it all out on the line. Travis writes a novel on here, but Travis, I'm going to try my best. He says, yeah, Brian Kelly will need to hit those 4 stars that's been messed over with scholarships, hit the transfer portal and junior college, base the right fit that matches his team culture. LSU will be fine. I'm hoping we will do well next season. Yeah, I agree. You're going to have to hit the portal, man. You're going to have to get it hard. Mark says A&M's hiring Ole Miss DC. I don't understand that. I think that's a horrible hire, quite honestly. Rick says, Blake, you got to sing that State Farm jingle, man. I love it. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Hey, Carol. I love it, dude. We're making waves up here in the AYS studio, the old AYS studio. That's for damn sure. Lewis says, what's wrong with basketball teams? So many missed baskets in the first half. I don't know. I really don't know. Stephen says, Blake don't want my money. Come on, bro. You know, a hungry dude that's all about money, Stephen, would have already hit you up for money. You want to talk about somebody who's got fat stacks of mad cash. Don't be playing with me. All right, let's do this because we did go late today, and my buddy Scarborough's on his show right now. Let's do this. We'll call it a night for now and pick it back up tomorrow. Big game, LSU basketball women tomorrow. So that's going to be really fun. But we will see y'all again tomorrow. Y'all have a good night. Peace out, Girl Scouts. Got to talk very quickly, though. Got to give a good shout out to my good friend John Patton over at GMFS Mortgage. Going through this process right now, buying a new home, saving money on the mortgage that you have now, even doing that cash out refi. The timing has never been better. I got to tell you, Joe, John Patton has been the absolute best. 225-614-1234. It's 225-614-1234. Tell Blake seen you by. All right, we'll see you tomorrow night, guys. Peace out to my Girl Scouts.